Hello and welcome to Offstage Podcast. My name is Shamanabia and today I will be talking to Tyler and Ozzy from the flash rock band called Marene. So for now, sit back, relax and listen to their brand new song called Something's Out There.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I am the lead singer, frontman, and Toastmaster General of You, who are the immoral majority. And my role on stage is to dress in purple and give you one hell of a show and lead you on the expedition that is our Marene Flash Rock show.
Hi there, my name is Ozzy, and I am the polar opposite to the bright and beautiful flower that is Tyler. So my role in the band is to be the shepherd, shall I say, of those individuals that we adore so much who come to watch us. I am the more, can I say, darker character in the band. So my role in the band is to do all the things that Tyler can't do. And that is keeping it low and dirty and fun, because that's what we're all about. We like to have fun and enjoy ourselves on stage. And when you enjoy what you do, people enjoy it too.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, you two, for joining me on this episode of Offstage Podcast. So the very first question that I have for you is, and I pardon my French, what the F is flash synthwave pop rock? What does that mean?
All right, so our genre when we're producing hard rock music is flash rock. And what is flash rock? Well, flash rock is a visual experience because we're all about the show. So that means choreography, that means outfits, that means on stage theatrics, that means flames and sparks and fireworks. That means all out, like, all out explosions on stage. It is one hell of a massive entertainment factor mixed with rock, which is our genre. And flash synthwave pop, all right, is the genre that we just put out, which is a remix of our rock song Something's Out There. So basically what we did is we took our genre, we mixed it with the synthwave, and we created, well, a new genre. There you go. That's what we say.
I think you're the very first band that I know that actually created their own genre to fit their description.
Look, there are bands that come before us to do similar things, but we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We're just putting our own spin on it.
That is well put. So, how exactly did you come across the name Marene?
Cool. So marine is like the ocean, right? So if you think about the ocean, think of marine, but other people also think of it as like soldiers going off to battle. And I think that really does suit us as well because, we rarely go to battle on the stage. The stage is our war zone, and we're going to go up there and, put on one hell of an experience. I mean, we always say we take artillery to a knife fight, which means we give people, in the audience one hell of a bang for the money that they pay to see us. So what does marine mean? Well, marine is, for me especially, sort of like I was saying, like the ocean. It's the tides that come in and out. It's the ocean life, and everything survives in that ocean, much like music. Musicians survive in our little ocean of our scene, right? So marine is sort of like music, okay? Sort of like the tides. And as we know, music genres, music tastes, they come in and out with the tides. This is in now, that's out. Then now it's this is in, that's out. And so Marene is the band that's going to bring back theatrical showmanship to the stage. We're going to bring back choreography. We're going to bring back everything. We're going to bring in the next tidal wave of showmanship and really knock everything else down as we plummet through all the villages and towns and things like that. So the idea is to really bring the next level and the next wave of theatrics to the stage, all stages. I mean, we play every stage like it's Madison Square Garden, like, a stadium show. So that's the way we put it, whether it's to 5 people, 50 people, we give them one hell of an experience. And that's sort of what we want to do. And that's what Marene means. It means to, for us, we want to be the tidal wave that's going to bring in, the new tide, the new life, the new marine life.
After all of what he said, I think what Marine really stands for is, being greater than yourself, being someone who, you could be, because a lot of people don't realize this, but musicians and, artists, they exist as archetypes that people aspire to be. And not everyone has the ability to, be the amazing frontman or, um, the angry dark guy or the sort of spontaneous diva, so that's where artists come in, is they allow people to live vicariously through them. And this is why we started the band in the first place, is because we never got to see the band that blew our minds, right? So we said to ourselves, we are going to start a band to be the band that we never got to see, right? And I think this is the entire message of Marine, is that it all depends on you.
I know that some of your influences are Kiss and Van Halen. So, as young musicians, did you guys ever think that this is the kind of band that you would be in and performing?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, like I said, it comes with the territory. We wanted to be a stadium band. We didn't want to play clubs our whole life. And I think, seeing bands like Van Halen and Kiss, which are masters of the stage and masters of showmanship and masters of, spectacle, I think we saw the genre as sort of where we wanted to be, because it's the only place where sort of what we want to do exists. I mean, look, you get pop shows, but all pop shows or rap shows or indie shows, they all have Kiss DNA in it, because Kiss and Van Halen and these people really, they dug tunnels out to make way for spectacle and shows. When you see a firework or you see a bomb go off, and when you're watching Justin Bieber, just know who did that first, and that was Kiss. So their DNA really isn't everything, but I like to think that we are from the same mother gene. And what I mean by that is we come off the same conveyor belt that they did, where we want to take it to the next level.
What was the best advice that you guys have been given as a band and as an individual as well?
The best advice I was ever given was to just stick with it. Not everybody's going to understand what you do, not everybody's going to get it. But I think that if you stick to what you want to do and you believe in yourself, and if you fulfill a desire within yourself, you will fulfill the same desire within other people. For instance, like I said, when we wanted to start this band, we wanted to be the band that we never saw live. And in being that band, you become the band that other people have never seen live before as well, that they wish they could see. And so once again, if you fulfill that need and that desire within yourself, you're fulfilling it in other people. So if you stick to your guns and you keep pushing through and you do you, then you're going to be doing a lot of people as well and doing them right and fulfilling what they're looking for. That's it. Stick to your guns, roll up your sleeves, get to work, because, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Let's take it into a bit of a more personal route. I remember one of the greatest pieces of advice that I ever stumbled across was an interview with the bassist for Journey, Ross Valerie, and someone asked him, what advice would you give to a young musician? And he said the most profound thing that I would never expect out of a musician's mouth. He said, "Get a job and get an education," right? And I thought about it, and it's like, wow, that's actually so correct, because the unfortunate thing about music is that not everyone makes it. Music is one of those things that follow what's called a ratio distribution. Sorry, I may be going off a tangent here. Basically, few people get it all and many people don't get it. It's always important, like Tyler said, to do you, go for it, right? But you should personally, I think, cover all your bases. And it's always good to, be more than a one-dimensional person, because a lot of musicians you'll meet only talk about music. It's always nice to meet a musician who talks about science, math, TV, things like that. It's important to be more than an individual than you possibly think of yourself. Another piece of advice that I think is really useful, especially to musicians, is it's a fantastic piece of advice by Dr. Jordan Peterson. He said, "Stand up straight with your shoulders back, because it's you that have to carry the weight of your world on your shoulders." And a lot of musicians get angry at people because they don't become successful or people aren't supporting them. But it ultimately boils down to a case of, what are you doing different? What responsibility are you taking in your life to change your circumstances? This also ties into what Tyler said, because we said to ourselves, everyone does the same thing. Everyone either makes this sort of sellout poppy stuff or, commercial music. But we said to ourselves, this is what we like and we're going to do it. Yes, we may have a spin here and there, but it's for a good reason, and you're never going to change the core of our DNA. So for me, that's what I think about it.
Thank you so much. Both of you have given such great advice, and I think so many people can learn from it. And I mean, the amount of people that I've asked to given a motivational word, of most of them have said to get a job. And I mean, a lot of people know that is true, but I think as a younger musician, you think that this is going to make me, this is what's going to pay the bills and whatever. So it's very important to remember that it's not always going to work out. And with that also being said, I mean, lockdown just happened and we're still kind of feeling the wave of that. But it wasn't that bad, because obviously you guys released a lockdown song, so which made it so much better. And you also released a new EP. So can you take us through the journey of your EP and creating it?
So basically what happened was, during lockdown, when we heard the country was going into lockdown, the first thing I did was I bought a bunch of PlayStation games and I sat and vegetated for about 2 or 3 weeks. That's what I did, um, obviously. But after that, I got pretty bored. So what I did was I contacted Ozzy and I was like, "Listen, man, we both stuck at home. We ain't doing nothing. How about we put out some covers?" And he went, "That's a great idea." So I started producing some covers of some Cure songs, of some modern songs like Vanilla Twilight by Owl City. We did some Jethro Tull. We did some, what else did we use? Like a whole bunch of different, Blink 182. We did a whole bunch of different covers. And what happened was, we during the process of that, we actually were like, you know what? This is actually going very well. I think I would love to challenge myself to actually mix our own EP because we have an album that's actually sort of 75% done, but we couldn't do anything with it because, first of all, Lockdown can't go into the studio. Second of all, Lockdown can't go and tour the album. So let's put out an EP. And we had written some really cool songs during lockdown based on the frustrations of it, the feelings of being in lockdown. And it felt like music that really belonged in lockdown. So why not release an EP? And like I said, after doing the covers, I think we both felt we felt like we could do it. So basically what happened was I converted this room I'm in now into a home studio, bought a whole bunch of paneling, bought a whole bunch of microphones, and basically soundproofed it and stuff like that. So from there, we pretty much put in a massive stack. So the stack you see me behind me, for those who are just listening and not watching, it's a 4x12. So I normally have a 100-watt amp head on top of that. So we put that in the room next door, mic'd it up, and then we ran lines into this room with my studio monitors, and we tracked it off a live amp. We did the vocals live, we did the bass live, everything, relatively as analog as possible. Because if you're making music digitally, you ain't making music, you're making a science project. So we wanted to do it the real analog way. So after we recorded everything, we mixed it, and we sent it off to Akhil Khani in the UK, who is the main songwriter producer for Tesseract. And he mastered it for us and sent it back. And by December, we had a finished EP, which we were ready to release in February, So it was quite the ride. And along the journey, of course, we got in contact with a guy called Gated Reverb, who, of course, did a splendid job with making a synthwave remix of our single Something's Out There, which is number 18 on the Mix FM charts. So it's quite the journey. It's been sort of learning curves. I mean, I went from knowing a single thing about what a compressor and an EQ thing does to all of a sudden mixing the first Marene EP. So yeah, it's been quite the journey, and I loved every second of it. And if you're wondering what this calendar is sitting behind me over here, it's so that we can mark out the recording of the second Marene EP due later this year. So yeah.
Oh my word, that's very exciting that you guys are making another album. So would you be recording it yourself as well?
That's correct, yeah. So the idea is to go bigger and better. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So this time we're going to definitely overdo it again.
Obviously, before lockdown, and like you mentioned, you didn't know too much about compressor and EQ and doing all these things. So obviously creating an entire EP. And I think that must have been like really a lot of team building for the band as well. Because usually you go into studio, someone tells you what to do, and now one of your bandmates has to kind of take the lead on that and tell you what to do, when to do it. So what was the hardest part of putting together this EP as a band?
The hardest part about putting this all together was getting us all together. Because, like Tyler said, he lives very far away from me.
Ozzy lives about 40 minutes away from me. The keyboardist lived around about an hour and a half away. The drummer lives about an hour and a half away. But where we meet up at the warehouse where we practice, everybody is like within 30 minutes of it. So you see, it's a lot closer to meet up there than what it is to meet up anywhere else. Recording it here in my home studio, everyone had to make quite the drive. And during lockdown, it was incredibly, dangerous because like, oh no, I'm going out to get bread and milk and things. Anyways, lockdown level 5 hashtag, going to go record guitar. So it was quite the challenge. The other challenge, of course, was the fact that we knew absolutely nothing. I mean, we were so green with a lot of the stuff. We were like, okay, so what do we do? So it was quite, like I said, it was learning experience. Luckily for me, I'd spent a lot of time in the studio. As I was growing up, I've been recording songs and singles and things like that for my personal project since I was like 15. So I had that sort of, backing. But there's a lot of things you don't learn from just sitting and watching, and it's sort of things that you have to learn from doing. So that's what we did. We did what we do best, which is roll up our sleeves and get to work.
My favorite part of the whole recording process was just watching how things changed, and not just things, I mean ourselves as well. Because When you go into studio, it's a completely different beast from playing live. Because when you play live, you can almost do whatever you want, but when you play in studio, you have to rein it back a lot, right? So a lot of musicians tend to be over flashy or play a lot, or drummers play too much. But an important concept, this is another great piece of advice to all musicians out there, is learn to play the song. Don't play your part, play the song, because every musician wants to be the star of their own show. Maybe not always their own show, but a show, right? It doesn't matter. You can be the backing singer, you can be the drummer, you can be the fourth keyboardist, you can be the 17th
Trumpet player.
violinist or whatever. Yeah. Learn to play together and learn to play relaxed. Because when you're in a studio, right, as soon as your fingers start moving, the producer starts changing your tone. So it doesn't really matter what you do or how frustrated you get or arguing with, the producer. Ultimately, his vision, if you have a good relationship with him, will win out at the end of the day. Oh, when we got into studio, a lot of things had to change. A lot of people had to do things that they weren't really comfortable with. I know me myself, I was quite uncomfortable with singing in a high register, and because that's Tyler's area of expertise, I managed to learn a lot from him. You can see that big smile on his face, nice laughing, and
Yeah.
so it was really a growth process for all of us.
You guys are managed by Devo. When did your relationship start with him? And do you guys feel that a band needs a manager?
David was the photographer at that festival. And the amazing thing about that festival was us, because we managed to bring about 20,000 rand worth of lighting and smoke machines
LED
and just,
screens.
yeah, LED screens. So if you go back to the Metal for Africa page and you look at our set, you will see the one thing that makes us stand out from everyone else that played that lineup was light and color, because it's such an important thing that people don't realize. We brought all of that firepower, and David was so impressed with our show and the light that he even told us like it's such a pleasure to photograph you guys that he wanted to work with us. And so he approached us after that show a couple of months later. He's been working with us since 2019. We've only gone from strength to strength. Actually, really grateful for his input. And to answer your question about does every band need a manager, I think it depends on the band, because it depends on the vision and how committed the musicians are. Look, you can do whatever you want to by yourself. The internet is free, music is practically free. You can record stuff in your own bedroom, upload it to SoundCloud, upload it to Spotify, YouTube Music, wherever. Okay? You don't need a manager to be a band on the internet. But if you want to be a real band in real life, I think it's important to have someone who knows the industry, and not just knows industry, but knows people and knows how to speak to people. Because we are, let's face it, we're young. We don't have the amount of experience and the foresight that comes with watching things change through the decades that someone like Davis has, or someone who's been in the music scene for years and years. So it's important to always have a mentor or someone to guide you through the rocky waters. So I think, yeah, it really depends on the goal of your band whether or not a manager is important. In our case, like Tyler said at the beginning of the interview, we want to hit it big. And when I mean hit it big, I mean we want to do things that no one else has done before. And I think it's important for us to have someone like David, because he can see things that we don't see.
Some bands, need someone to tie their shoelaces for them. When it comes down to every small thing. So sort of like a micromanager. But because Marene is straight edge, we pretty much don't drink, don't smoke anything. We don't do any sort of substances. We're very much in tune with what we want to do, where we want to be, and what we want to accomplish. And so David is left doing what he does best, which is, of course, like Ozzy said, talking to people, promoting, and really getting us out there and in touch with interesting people like yourself. So yeah, that is what David does best. A lot of people expect a manager to come in and wipe their shoes and wipe their butt, but we're using our manager for something even better than that, and that is, of course, like I said, promotion and helping us get into bigger shows, bigger places with bigger names. That's how it works. So it all depends what your goals are and who you are as a musician and who you are as a person.
Absolutely. And I mean, Devo is such a well known person in the industry and he's so well respected, you know. So when he gives you advice or he asks you to do something, it's not like this whole thing where you want to like give your manager attitude or whatever. He's such a nice guy and he honestly just wants the best for his bands. So since you guys been managed by him, can you feel the band has been different and doing different shows and in a sense better shows?
I used to do all the managing of every small micro detail before David. And what was quite nice is that I never really had time for anything else. But of course, with David coming in on board and able to set up things and really promote and give us the input in the toolbox to be more musicians than managers, you know. So he was able to provide us with the ability to focus on what we do best and let him focus on what he does best. And of course, through doing so, not only have we been able to grow as musicians, but the band has been able to grow into better shows, bigger shows, because not only are we getting better at our craft, but we also don't have to worry as much as what we used to about playing shows and this and that and whatever. And because David has the context, like Oz said, you know, it's a lot easier for us to do bigger shows without having to almost beg and plead and get on our knees, you know. The problem with, I think, a band like us, and a lot of people find us scary because we go out there and we put on such a big show that sometimes I think we seem to scare the headliners. You know, how could they top that? You know, I think a lot of festivals are always wary and scared, sort of scared to put us on. Because you know it doesn't matter what crowd we go out in front of. We can go in front of an old age home, or we can go in front of an audience like we did at Winterfest with piercings in their eyes and their nose and their tongues and their cheeks and you name it. And you got a whole bunch of people that look so hardcore. They look like if they moved in just the right way, they're going to put like a stud in someone's eye, and they're singing, going, it's crazy. You would never expect them to be singing, stuff like our songs because, comparison to probably their playlists on their Spotify or Apple Music, we probably sound like Justin Bieber. For those hardcore people and for people that don't normally enjoy sort of rock type music, we really are the middle ground because you could be deaf and enjoy us because it's the spectacle is there and it's something that you can enjoy visually, and that's something like we say we approach the stage as our holy ground and we approach the stage as a visual thing. When you go to a live show, you're going to a live show, and you want to see something because you listen with your eyes as well. So
Well, by the sounds of it, you guys put up an amazing show. And like you guys mentioned earlier, you come with the lights and all the theatrics and all that kind of thing. So how do you guys prepare for a live event?
So we have a dedicated rehearsal space in our warehouse, and the fantastic thing about that is that it's set up exactly like a stage would be. So drums in the middle, guitars off to the side, bass on the other side, pianos as well, monitors, sound system, PA system, mixer, everything is exactly like a stage. We even have colored lights. How cool is that? And so when we rehearse, it's not a case of let's just sit down and jam on our guitars. It's a case of, okay, we're going to do this in this way. We're going to stand here and look like this. You're going to look and point in this direction or that direction or forwards or backwards or whatever. If you come to our show, the most amazing thing that you'll never see another band do in this country is the choreography. And we rehearse extremely hard for that because like Tyler's been saying and I've been saying, it's about giving more. And I think that with the choreography, it paints a visual picture. So you get an audio stimulation and a visual one, because flash rock is about being here and being there. It's never about being static. It's dynamic. And so the choreography really adds to that because we each have our own different songs that we sing. So everyone in the band is a lead vocalist, right? And when one person is off doing their lead vocals, you'll have other people doing choreographed moves, because it's so, I think it's boring to watch people get up on stage and just stand there, look at the guitar like they don't want to be there, or stay off into the distance like they don't want to be there, so that's why we have choreography, so that when we rehearse we do everything together so that we always stage ready and we always ready to give it our all. So by the end of the night, we're not tired, you are tired.
If we have any theater people listening, Marene is sort of like a triple threat because we sing, dance, and act at the same time. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to get a foot to the face. So you have to know what you're playing and where on stage you have to play that.
The very last question that I have for you is, what can we expect from Marene?
Awesome. So what is next? Well, you can expect, first of all, one hell of a 2021. And why do I say that? I say that because you can get ready for a second Marene EP. And we're planning that for October. So you can expect it out then. Until now, you can enjoy the songs we have out on Spotify, on Apple Music. You can search us up, Marene, that's Marene. On Facebook, we are Marene, Marene band. On Instagram, we are Marene_live. And you can find us pretty much everywhere, you know.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me with this interview and just sharing your journey.
Thank you so much for having us.